Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaneejam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahay. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankarāchārya-madhyamam Asmadācārya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparām Shruti-smriti-purāṇānām Ālayam Karuṇālayam Namāmi Bhagavat-pādam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankarāchāryam Keshavam Bādarayanam Sutrabhāshyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samastajana-kalyāne Niratam Karunāmayam Namāmi Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. So in the morning class, we were discussing the divine form of Lord Dakshinamurti. So we had discussed the four hands. What do they represent? The Vedas. It is the source of knowledge. Then Chinmudra, the content of knowledge. Then Japamala, the practice of knowledge. And then fire, which is the result of knowledge. Right. So now we come to this Rakshasa, which is there below. So Bhagavān has placed his foot on that demon. Right. So who is this demon? Huh? Who is this demon? The ego, yes. So here you find that this demon is holding one snake also. So very many times in our scriptures, snake symbolizes our ego sense. Snake. Now just observe the property of the snake. This being is a very, very dangerous being. What do you find in a snake? It loves to remain hidden. Yes or no? Yes. It loves darkness again. Some hole it will go and hide itself inside. They say that maximum death happens if there is some insect or animal, it is because of snake bite. It remains hidden. Because you don't see this. You are walking somewhere and then you step on this and then this bites. So this snake is everybody is scared of snake. That fear is totally different. Its movement is also crooked, you see. It doesn't go straight. It's not a straightforward being. Right. The ego is also like that. You observe. Ego loves the darkness of ignorance. Why? Because ego is an illusory entity which cannot stand the light of knowledge. It exists only in darkness of ignorance. So that is why ego never likes knowledge. Ego is always against knowledge. Because knowledge means its non-existence. Because what actually exists is only the self. Self misunderstood is ego. So where there is light of knowledge, the ego has no existence. So therefore, ego dislikes knowledge. See the snake behavior. It always wants to remain hidden. And now, this snake is a poisonous being. In the same way, this ego is also poisonous. The snake attacks us remaining hidden. In the same way, this snake of ego also attacks us remaining hidden. Where does it hide? It hides behind the subject. It doesn't come in front. It remains one with the aham, and then it poisons our thoughts, words and deeds. You see, very dangerous. Where is it hiding? It is hiding in this aham. That aham is actually none other than Supreme Self. It hides there. And it is very difficult to find out something which is hidden in aham. If something is hidden in idam, it is easy, because it is an object, you can see it. But something which is hidden in aham, very dangerous. It is like the thief in the police force. Police is trying to catch the thief. Where is the thief? He is there as one among the police. Very dangerous fellow. So every time I think that the problem is in the outer world, I try to correct the outer world. But where is the problem? The fellow is here. Right. All actions, all behavioral tendency of an egoistic person, they are all crooked. Crooked means what? Outside something, inside something else. So that is why you find that Rakshasa holding that snake. Now, the Lord, where has he kept this Rakshasa? Now, by the way, the name of this Rakshasa, there is a name also. Its name is apasmara. The name of this Rakshasa is apasmara. Smara means what? Smaranam. Smara means remembrance. So, apasmara means what? Absence of remembrance. Means what? Forgetfulness. So, when does this ego raise its hood? When we are forgetful about ourselves. The moment there is God forgetfulness, there is this ego. The moment God is forgotten, ego makes his presence felt. So what is the only solution? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. All the time what you have to do? Bhagavān says, anusmaranam, remembrance, remember me. Because the moment you forget, who is ruling now? Your heart will be ruled by either of these. Either Lord will rule your heart or ego will rule your heart. If you have forgotten God, you don't have to remember the ego. It is already there. It is like, the example given is, that green, what do you call it? Moss, right? On that water it flows. You remove it, for some time, yes, you see the water, but you leave it, it comes back. So how quickly that moss comes back and covers the reality, that water, so quickly the ego also comes back and possesses our heart. That is why sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara, always remember me. You don't know when that ego comes and possesses you. The law is, as the Lord enters, ego vanishes. As the ego enters, Lord vanishes. Together they cannot remain. As they say, either Rama or Kama. Right. So Bhagavan has kept this ego. Now a question may come, Bhagavan, you could have killed him. Why are you all the time pressing him down? Finish him off. Now here we have to understand one thing. Bhagavan is formless, but he has deliberately taken a form. Why? Because for teaching you need a form. Otherwise Bhagavan need not have taken a form. He is already the self. He could have taught all of us remaining in the self. It is not possible. So therefore he deliberately comes in front, taking a maya upādhi. And then he presents himself in front. So he is taking a BMI, a body, mind, intellect, not for himself, but for blessing the world, for giving this knowledge. But then, even though he has taken the Maya Upādhi, he still remains the ruler of Maya. That is what is indicated there. He still remains. He is a Maya Pati. He is not Maya Dasa. What is that verse? 4th chapter. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san. What is next? Prakritim swam avashtabhya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Though I am avyaya, imperishable, bhutanam ishvaraha, the Lord of all bhutas, keeping the prakriti under my control. Now this is the word used. Sambhavami atma mayaya. I take a form. I manifest myself with the power of my maya. So this is what is indicated there. A BMI is necessary to teach, to communicate. So Bhagavan has taken a particular BMI, but even though there is this BMI, he is not attached. What is ego? Remember, it is not the BMI which is ego, it is our identification with BMI which gives birth to ego. Now this has to be understood. What is the definition of ego? When is ego born? When I, the pure consciousness, identify with the body-mind, this identification leads to the birth of ego. If there is no identification, will there be an ego? Not at all. BMI is not the cause of ego. Attachment to BMI, identification with BMI is the cause of ego. So here Bhagavan uses this form, body, mind, intellect, but he is in total control. Means what? He is not identified. He is just using the instrument to get his work done, to fulfill the purpose of his avatāra, but he is absolutely detached. Right. So that's why he is called Mayapati. What is our condition? Suppose we are supposed to be drawn like this. How will we draw ourselves? Rakshasa will be seated up. Where will we be? We will be lying down. And that Rakshasa will place his foot upon us. Yes or no? Why? Because we are not Mayapati, we are Mayadasa. Instead of we holding the snake would have, coiled us. See the difference? Right. So, absence of identification. That is what is presented there. Okay. What else is there? On the head, now you have the sun and the moon. Surya and Chandra. If you see that photo, on one side sun, the other side moon. Earlier we have defined Bhagavan as, what is the name? Ashtamurti Bhrit, the supporter of all 8 forms. Now what does this sun and the moon indicate? This also indicates how a teacher must be. What is the nature of sun? Scorching rays. What is the nature of moon? Cooling rays. A teacher must also have these 2 qualities. Sometimes he must be scorching like a sun. Sometimes he must be cooling like moon. Sometimes he must be like a mother, affectionate, tender, forgiving, loving, patient, compassionate. That is the cooling rays of the moon. A guru must have all these virtues. Right? For example, when the student is struggling, because the whole path of spirituality is struggle. With whom are you struggling? With our own negativity, our own imperfection. Enemy is not outside, enemy is inside only. My own raga dvesha, kama krodha lobha moha mada matsarya, my own ahankara, mamakara, all kinds of negativities are there. I am struggling with it. And most of the time I am helpless. Why? Because the Kauravas are more in number, Pandavas are less. This is a battlefield that is, Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Which is that Kurukshetra? Our own heart. The fight is there, struggle is there. Most of the time, it's a losing battle. So now Guru, when he is looking at the Shishya, what is he seeing there? He is seeing this poor Shishya struggling with his imperfections. So at that time, what happens to this Guru's heart? It should melt in compassion, like a motherly heart. Right? This is the cooling rays of the moon. But there are other times when the Guru has to be like that scorching sun. When is it? When this fellow is lazy, unyielding, stubborn, arrogant, compromising with all higher values, and then justifying his mistakes, then motherly attitude will not do. He will have to have fatherly strictness. Both are necessary, father and mother. Many times these parents do this mistake. They pamper their children so much, all the time loving, forgiving. You will find that those children will have no love or respect for their parents. No way. Only pampering is not parenting. There are times when you have to be strict. There are times when you have to be very, strict or harsh or whatever. Superficially cruel. That is also necessary. So that the children have fear. That is also necessary. Bhakti should be there. Bhaya also should be there. So therefore, bhaya-bhakti should go together. Children must have fear also. My God, if my father sees this, I am finished. That is good. Because that fear will protect them from walking the path of unrighteousness. Children must have love also, respect also, fear also. Right. So that's why all devatas, they have weapons in their hands. If it is only compassion and loving, then why do you need weapons then? There is not a single devata without a weapon. Right? Fear is necessary. So sometimes Guru has to be like that scorching sun. Right? Both are necessary. So a very beautiful example that he gave is like the potter, Both the hands, one hand is beating the pot to shape, the other hand is supporting also. On one side support, on the other side proper beating. Beating it to shape. Both are necessary. If you really observe in your life, you will find Bhagavān also is with each and every one of us. He is doing the same thing. Beating is also given, supporting is also given. You just have to have a subtle mind to observe this. Every one of us, we are backed and beaten, both. Supported on one side, beaten to shape on the other side. Right? All sufferings are nothing but beating from him. Only cruelty, that also will not help. Some parents are the other extreme, Only strictness and being harsh. No, that also will not work. Loving is also necessary. So Guru has to be like this while dealing with the student. That is why sun and the moon. In Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, Bhagavan is described as having two eyes. Shashi Surya Netrayoho, it is said there. Shashi and Surya. Sun and the moon as two eyes. Right. Then what else is there? Yes, Shiva, we have this gangā flowing, isn't it? That stream. What is that? It is nothing but Jñāna gangā. Gangā of knowledge. We must have discussed this many times, but as the context demands, we'll go through it once again. What does this symbolize? So the knowledge, the flow of knowledge. Where is it coming from? Gangā, what is the source? It is coming, is a heavenly river, isn't it? From Swarga. In the same way, this knowledge is divine. So it flows down. What is this flowing down means? Para to apara, parampara. Guru parampara is mentioned. So just like water always flows from the higher to the lower, knowledge also always flows from the higher to the lower. So if we have to gather knowledge, what should be the one quality we must practice? The virtue of humility, amanitvam, humble. But generally what happens? The more and more we gain knowledge, the more and more there is the pride of knowledge. If knowledge is leading to pride, know for sure that that is not knowledge, it is ignorance. The sign of knowledge is humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vinayam and vidya should go together. So therefore, if this is the definition, that knowledge has to lead to humility, whatever knowledge we are giving in the schools and colleges, is it knowledge? It is not. Just because you collect some information here and there, it is not knowledge. Knowledge has to make you humble. So that is the meaning. The water is flowing from the higher to the lower. And now, who is that person who did tapas to bring that? Bhagiratha, isn't it? Bhagiratha prayatnam is very famous. Oh my God! How much tapas he did. And how many people he had to, please. The point is this: if we have to gain this self-knowledge, a similar tapas has to be done by all of us. There is no choice. This tapas is called Jñāna tapas. The tapas of knowledge. It has to be done. Nothing comes free in this world. If there is some guru who will say, see, I will tell you a shortcut, easy path. No, for sure, that guru is a fake guru. Right? If somebody is promising you some easy way, shortcut, no, for sure. Because there is no shortcut. Everyone has to strive in the right way. Guru can guide you, he can show you the path, he can make things very clear, but walking, Guru will do the talking, who has to do the walking? You only have to do. We are grateful to Guru because he shows the path. Suppose Guru is also not there, then where will you walk? In this infinite jungle of samsara. So of course that knowledge is very, very precious. But walking, there is no choice. We have to walk. We have to struggle. Right? So this Jnana Ganga. Where does this Ganga flow and merge? Ganga flows and merges in the infinite ocean. Now that is also symbolic. The finite river merges with the infinite ocean. So this is the result of this knowledge. The finite Jivatma merges with infinite Paramatma. Right? When we take a dip in Ganga water, what happens to us? We are refreshed. In the same way, when we take a dip in Jnana Ganga, what do you mean taking a dip in Jnana Ganga? Shifting our attention to within, shifting our attention to the self, to that consciousness. Remain there for some time and you are refreshed. To the extent we become free from the clutches of the ego, we experience freshness. That which tires us is ego. That which exhausts us is our ego. So when we connect to the source, to the center in us, the spiritual center in us, we are recharged, refreshed, like the mobile connected to the plug point. We are charged. Whenever we are in the world, using the ego, dealing with the world, we are discharged. Isn't it? Just imagine, out of 24 hours, 8 hours sleep is necessary. Means what? For every 2 minutes, you need 1 minute rest. See the kind of exhaustion and tiredness which this ego brings. For every 2 minutes in the world, 1 minute you have to be in the bed. Huh? Oh my God. Indeed a demon. There are so many things, tiring things happening in us which we are not aware. We have not paid attention. That's all. Why are we tiring? Whenever you do something unnatural, you get tired. Fire is not tired giving heat. Why? Because it is natural. That which is natural to you doesn't bring tiredness. That which is unnatural brings in tiredness. Yes or no? Yes. So we were discussing this Jnana Ganga, Another beautiful thing about this symbolism is Ganga comes in a big gush, with great force falling on the jata of Shiva, but it comes out in thin stream. What is that symbolism? The spiritual knowledge, if you try to read the Vedas, etc., you will be utterly confused. So what is the role of a guru? He makes this knowledge very, very simple, in an understandable way. That is what Puja Gurudev did to all of us. That complicated, confusing knowledge of the Vedas, of the Upanishad, if you directly read Upanishad, you will understand nothing. That's why we are so grateful to Acharyas like Vyasa Rishi and Bhagavān Shankarāchārya, etc. You read the Upanishad directly and try to decipher the meaning. You can't. Then we have Bhagavān Shankarāchārya's Bhashya. Then you get some idea. Puja Gurudev made even things simpler with lot of stories, anecdotes, jokes, day-to-day experiences. He made it very simple so that people like us, we can understand. Oh! And we are able to connect to that knowledge also. Otherwise we thought this knowledge is meant for some sannyasis. living in some Himalayan caves. We have nothing to do with this knowledge. This knowledge is meant for the either dying or dead. Not for the living, not for the people who are battling, the challenges of life in the marketplace. This is the kind of idea which people had. Then Gurudev brought this knowledge. No, it is talking about you. It is talking about your problem. See, this is what the Guru does. That complicated thing, he makes it simple. Easy to understand. Easy to apply in our day-to-day life. What is the proof that this knowledge is blessing all of us? What is the proof? Ask yourself this question. How I was before coming to Chinmaya mission, how I am after a few years. After coming to Chinmaya, you see the difference in yourself. Nobody can say nothing has happened. Nobody can say. It's a question you have to ask yourself. There are so many things happening without your knowledge. You see, they are all because of Guru's grace only, somewhere or the other. Right. Now moving forward, you have the third eye of Lord Shiva. That's also there. What is this third eye? So don't expect some third eye to be opened up at the center of your eyebrow. After studying Vedanta, no such eye will open up. This eye is called the eye of knowledge or eye of wisdom. Jnāna chakshu it is. This laukika chakshu is showing something, but Jnāna chakshu is showing something which the laukika chakshu cannot see. The best example is the example of electricity. The one who had studied electricity, he is seeing the wire and a bulb glowing in the end. A person who has not studied electricity, he is also seeing the wire. But there is a difference or not? The one who has studied about electricity, he has that Jnāna chakshu opened. Bulb is glowing, therefore the wire is live. That live wire, that electricity, is he seeing with his fleshy eyes? No. He is seeing with his eye of wisdom, eye of knowledge. In the same way, a person who has studied the scriptures, his eye of wisdom opens up. What does he see? Every one of us, we are all seeing the world only, but there is a difference. The man of wisdom sees oneness in plurality. The vision of oneness is what he sees with his Jnāna chakshu. What will the fleshy eyes show? It is vision of plurality. Everything is different. But that Jnāna chakshu shows that one thing. Right. The 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is that what is that Vishwarupa Darshanam? What is happening is Vishwadarshanam. He is seeing the world only. But there he is seeing Ishvara. Ishvara Darshanam is happening in Vishwadarshana. That is called as vision of oneness. And that's what should happen after the study of Vedanta. That eye should open up. Right. Now what else is left? Yes, Dakshinamurti is seated under Vatavriksha. Vatavitapi samipe. Bhumi bhage nishannam. What is this Vatavriksha? Samsara Vriksha. Those who have studied 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This Vriksha is nothing but Samsara Vriksha. The tree of transmigration. I'm not going into detail into that, okay? Because that will be another 7 days. Those who want more details, refer what? 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Now what is left? Yes, the name How did he get this name? Dakshinamurti. That is also something interesting. This Bhagavan is facing Dakshina. Dakshina means what? South. South facing God he is. That Murti which is facing Dakshina Disha is called Dakshinamurti. Now the south direction indicates the abode of Yamaraj, death. So that is why they say you should never face south while doing some auspicious karma, etc. Because it is the direction of death. It's considered inauspicious. But this is one God which is an exception to the rule. What is he doing? He is facing south only. Why? Fearlessness. Absolutely fearless. He is not scared of death. Rather, death is scared of him. That's how the Upanishad says. Mrityuhu yasyopasechanam, Kathopanishad says. For the Lord, even Lord Death is a chutney. Bhagavan eats Lord Death also. The point is this: Bhagavan is fearless of death because this concept of death is an illusion. It is born out of ignorance. There is nothing called death. Consciousness has got no death. So Bhagavan is facing Dakshina. There is another meaning also. Daksha means expert, efficient. Efficient in taking the formful beings into their formless state. Dakshina Amurti. This is another way of splitting. Dakshina plus Murti or Dakshina plus Amurti. Amurti means formless. So who is this Dakshinamurti? He is an expert. Daksha. Expert in what? Expert in liberation. In granting liberation. How does he do it? Through Chinmudra, of course. By giving knowledge. Dakshinamurti. Right. Anything else left? So many rishis are sitting there. That anyway will come during the invocation. So now I think this much is enough. I think almost everything is covered. Now shall we enter into invocation now? Okay. So I hope you have the text. See, we are not entering into the actual verse, it is only invocation. So that page number in our Chinmaya Mission book, page number 9. Maunavyakhya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam varshishtānte vasat rishigane avrutam brahmanishthaihi acharyendram karakalita chinmudramanandarupam Swatmaramam muditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide. Together. Maunavyakhya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam Varshishtānte vasat rishigane ravrutam brahmanishthaihi Acharyendram karakalita chinmudramanandarupam Svatmaramam muditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide. Ide, I worship. I worship. Whom do I worship? Dakshinamurtim ide. I worship Dakshinamurti. Who is he? Muditavadanam. Muditavadanam means what? Vadanam, face. It is mudita, full of moda. Moda means happiness, joy, pleasing face, a cheerful face. Mudita vadanam. I worship upon the Lord. I worship the Lord Dakshinamurti, who is having a very pleasing, maybe a smile on his face. So always worship a deity who is sattvic. Because what happens is, whatever you worship, that nature slowly becomes yours. If you worship a deity full of anger, etc., slowly you will attain that Raudra Bhava. So this Dakshinamurti, he is having a smile on his face, very cheerful, happy. Why is he happy? Because, see the another term, Ananda Rupam. There is a smile on his face because he is experiencing Ananda, happiness. Why is he experiencing happiness? Sva Atma Ramam. Because he is Aramam. Aram means what? Reveling in the self. So these are all connected. This person has a very pleasing smile on his face because there is a joy in the heart. You see? They say that the face is a reflection of your mental state. If the mind is disturbed, that disturbed state will be reflected on your face. If the mind is peaceful, that peace will be seen on your face. But why is this peace, Anandam, from where it has come from? Svatma Ramam. So here is Bhagavan, who is firmly abiding in the self, reveling in the self, and it is because of this reveling in the self, he is appearing so cheerful. Right? So you have to connect one term to the other. So the whole, actually the verse is a description of Dakshinamurti. Right? Different aspects are being pointed out. Why did this Dakshinamurti take this avatar? So see the term, Acharyendram. Acharya Indram is the king of all acharyas, of all teachers. He is the guru of gurus. Who is Dakshinamurti? He is Acharyendra. What is the proof that you have knowledge? Earlier we said humility. That is one. There is another proof of knowledge. What is it? Peace and happiness. The proof that you are knowledgeable, the proof is that you are peaceful. What is that verse in Bhagavad Gita which says this? Nanusochanti panditaha. Panditaha na anusochanti. The wise people. This is how Bhagavad Gita begins. You see? The grand entry of Bhagavad Gita is like this. Gatasun agatasunscha na anusochanti panditaha. The wise people never grieve. Arjuna was crying and weeping. First chapter is full of Arjuna Upadesha. not Gitopadesha. Arjuna giving Upadesha to Krishna. And then finally he collapses. Then Bhagavan says, Arjuna, do you know what all you have spoken is rubbish? What is the proof? The very fact that you have collapsed. Knowledge and disturbance cannot go together. Knowledge and weakness cannot go together. A person is giving full of knowledge, but he is collapsing. What does it mean? It is not knowledge. It is ignorance alone in the disguise of knowledge. So that is how Bhagavad Gita enters, Bhagavan is smiling. Prahasanniva Bharat. Arjuna. Ashocyan anvashocastvam. Prajñāvādanscha bhāshase. You talk as though you are very wise. But on the other side, ashocyan anvashochaha. You are full of grief. How can grief and wisdom go together? Panditaha na anusochanti. Why did I tell all this? See this. Dakshinamurti is very happy. Ananda Rupam, reveling in bliss. This itself is the sign that Dakshinamurti is an embodiment of knowledge. Look at Krishna avatar. If you see Krishna avatar, it is full of tragedies. Birth itself is in prison. Separated from mother and father. Uncle himself is trying to kill him in so many ways. And finally what happens? In front of his eyes, his children and grandchildren, they fought amongst themselves, died. Can you imagine the suffering? Any worldly person would have had a heart attack. Your own children in front of your eyes, killing themselves. But what was the attitude of Krishna? Smiling. Mudita vadanam. The hunter who killed him, he blessed him also. You see? The sign of knowledge is cheerfulness, is peace. So definitely Bhagavan Krishna is a right person to give Gitopadesha because he is somebody who is living it. In the battlefield also, Bhagavan was smiling all the time. The same thing we find in Dakshinamurti also. Mudita vadanam, ananda rupam, swatmaramam. And therefore, he is the fit person to become Acharya. He is not just Acharya, Acharya Indram. The Lord of Gurus. The one who creates Gurus, rather we can say this way. Bhagavan, what is that strength because of which he is able to be so happy? What is that knowledge which he is giving? Now you are saying he is a guru. What is that knowledge which he is giving? See this. Parabrahma tattvam. The first line. Mauna vyakya paraprakatita parabrahma tattvam. This is the knowledge which is imparting. Parabrahma tattvam. Tattvam, truth. Regarding Parabrahma, Supreme Brahman. This is the knowledge being given. In fact, this is the knowledge which gives you strength. This alone is true knowledge. Because this knowledge alone will give you peace, strength, contentment, fulfillment, etc. Right. Parabrahma tattvam is that knowledge which he gives. But how is he giving? Mauna vyakya prakatita. He expresses this knowledge through what? Maunam. Maunam itself is the vyakyanam. In silence, this knowledge is given. But how can somebody understand silence? No, it's not just silence. There is something else also there. What is there? Kara Kalita Chinmudram. That is also there. It is not that Dakshinamurti is just sitting there. To give this knowledge, while giving this knowledge, he is also using a hand gesture, mudra. Kara Kalita Chinmudram. Chin mudra is Kara Kalita, sporting on his hand. That's the meaning. On his palm, this chin mudra is sporting. Kara Kalita Chin mudra. But whom is he teaching? Rishiganehi is giving this knowledge to the Rishiganas. Who are they? Brahmanishtaihi. They are firmly established in Brahman. What? If they are firmly established in Brahman, then why should they need Brahma Tattva Vidya? Whatever, Brahma Vidya. What does they need? They already have it. So here we have to understand, it is not Nirguna Brahma, it is Saguna Brahmanishtaihi. Means what? So these rishis, they have done lot of upasanas, Ishtadevata upasana, etc. They have attained tremendous amount of Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. That is there. What is Chitta Shuddhi? Purity of mind. Chitta Ekagrata? Concentration of mind. So their mind is very well prepared. That's why the term Brahmanishtaihi. And what is their age? Varshishta. Varshishta means superlative of elderly. Varshiyan, Varshiyan, Varshishtan. That's how it is. Superlative means extremely old. They are all old people there. So throughout their life, they have done lot of sadhana, lot of upasana, this way Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata, etc. They have gained. So that is why they are called as rishis. And where are they? Ante Vasat, sitting near. So Ante Vasat should actually be one term. So here you will find Ante and Vasat, separate terms. So it is one word actually, Ante Vasat. Just like we use Antevasi, isn't it? Antevasi is resident, that is mean Antevasi. But here, these Shishyas, these Rishis, who are sitting very close to him, Antevasat. So Varshishta Antevasat Rishignehi Avrutam, surrounded by. So Dakshinamurti is Avrutam, surrounded by these Rishiganas, who are firmly established in Saguna Brahma Upasanas, having a thoroughly purified mind, prepared mind. So we have to understand they are Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha Adhikarinaha. This way we have to understand. So my prostration unto Dakshinamurti, who is having a very pleasing face, smiling face, reveling in bliss of the self, surrounded by these Rishiganas. And this Dakshinamurti who is teaching them with Chinmudra, remaining silent. To this Dakshinamurti, my prostrations, I worship ye day. Okay. One more we'll see. Verse number 2. Page number 10. Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषन्नं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं namami. I bow down, I prostrate unto whom? Dakshinamurthi Devam. I prostrate unto Dakshinamurti. Who is he? Tribhuvana Gurum Isham. Isham, the Supreme Lord. Tribhuvana Gurum, the teacher of the three worlds. Then, where is he seated? Vatavitapi samipe bhumi bhage nishannam. Nishannam, seated. Bhumi bhage, on the ground. Vatavitapi samipe, under the banyan tree. Vatavriksha. Sakala muni jananam jnana dataram. Who is he? Jnana dataram. He is giving knowledge. To whom? Arat. Arat, who are very near, sitting near to him. Who are they? Sakala muni jananam. All these munis, the Rishi munis. What is the result of this knowledge? Janana marana dukkha cheda daksham. So this Dakshinamurti is daksham, an expert. In what? Dukkha chedam. In destroying the dukkha, sorrow. This sorrow is born out of what? Janana marana dukkham. The sorrow born out of janana marana. Birth, death, cycle. Birth, death, cycle, this samsara itself is nothing but sorrow only. So this Guru who gives this knowledge, the result of this knowledge is liberation from janana marana samsara chakra. So this teacher, our prostration. The next one we will see in the next class. These meanings are all very simple. By the way, the invocation which we chant, that is not there in this. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. This is actually written by Sureshwaracharya. So what is the meaning there? Ishvara Guru Atma iti Murti Bheda Vibhaginaha. My prostration unto Dakshinamurti, who has himself made into these three. Who himself is these three? What are they? Ishvara. He himself is Ishvara. Ishvaro Guru. He himself is the Guru. And he himself is the Atma. So Atma, Guru and Ishvara, they are not three things. They are only one. To that Dakshinamurti, my prostration. Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya. The one who is all pervading, like Vyomavat, space. Unto him, my prostrations. Right. Atma Ramananda Ramana. Atma Ramananda Ramana. अच्युत केशव हरि नारायण अच्युत केशव हरि नारायण भव भयहरणा वन्दित चरणा भव भयहरणा वन्दित चरणा रघुकुलभूषण राजीवलोचन रघुकुलभूषण राजीवलोचन आदिनारायण अनन्तशयना आदिनारायण अनन्तशयना सच्चिदानन्दा सत्यनारायण सच्चिदानन्दा सत्यनारायण भव भयहरणा वन्दित चरणा रघुकुलभूषण राजीवलोचन आत्मा रामानन्दरमणा आनन्दरमणा सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ श्री